same level of pedigree as you who are sitting next to me. And that's the reason why I think there's a big emphasis toward the confidence thing. And that's why I don't have a problem when I'm at the table like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, especially as the project manager. If I don't know what, like, especially what she was saying, we need to be able to, all these complicated tech stuff, we need to be able to sell it to people. Basic, everyday people who don't know the complicated words. If you don't know how to say it to me, then you cannot sell it to no regular people. So that's why when you ask questions, you cannot be nervous about asking questions or being there or being present, because these people would test you every single chance you have, because they feel like as a black person, you don't think you shouldn't be there, or somebody made some type of affirmative action, or they're trying to do a pass. Mind you, you come in with more degrees or more everything more than them. So that's the reason why I think that everybody's stressing the confidence thing, because it's not even about the knowledge. The knowledge is easy. You can get the knowledge. As like Crystal, she learned her data analyst, a big majority of her certification online on YouTube. Like the knowledge part, you could get it. It's the other skill sets and the other nonverbal things that you need to be in those spaces to survive and thrive. Like Whitney been growing up Microsoft. Microsoft is not an easy place to work. It's not because it's Microsoft and the technology. When you are in spaces that they don't welcome you, they don't want you there, like, yo, you're fighting for your life every single day you're going to work, even though the paycheck may be nice. So there's certain things you have to consider also, too.
Wow. Wow.
Sometimes you're the only woman in the room, too. Yeah. I will say, field ça, c'est plus garçon qui la donne. So, toute fille qui l'a, mettre femme sous pour entrer.
All right, so juste avant nous entrer pour nous capables d'entendre des questions from the audience, I have one question for you, my man. I know you're about to graduate, right?
Yes.
And we hear news every single day, like this major tech company, the laying off people, you know, and you hear it, they're all over the place. So what can you tell someone, like a young man here, a young woman here, maybe thinking about going in tech, and then they're hesitant, saying, man, you play off one, maybe back in position. What can you tell them?
Well, I could say that tech is always growing and always changing. If you're not, that's a very good question, because I'm in that position right now.
Right.
Because I am currently looking for work, because I'm in a different career path right now. But I know that tech is always changing. There's always an opportunity that's available for every single person. I could see tech as a sport. There's a different type of sport. Everyone have a different skill and ability that could be contributing in tech. Tech is always growing and always developing to something new. Just because, look at Android was like the #1 phone in the early 2000s. Now it's iPhone. You might develop another phone that's even better, goggles. You just don't know what opportunities that you could contribute to that space unless you prepare yourself and learn about those things. You got whole nations, China, India, is putting their youngest and brightest into this space. Why can't we do the same? Yeah. As a Haitian community, why can't we be a front runner in that space? So if I was in your position, I would dive headfirst into tech, because that's the future. It's not going nowhere. So you might as well just learn it now and be the teacher at that, be the master at that at a certain point.
All right, I see so many hands. Let's go.
I recently went through a layoff at Kaseya, so I'm unemployed right now too.
Okay.
And my experience, I'm not afraid for tech, because there's literally tech in every industry. So I know a lot of times people always refer to the Microsoft Googles. Healthcare, every hospital have a tech department. Every climate, like the weather being so hot, there's climate tech. There's education tech. There's the ad tech.
Gov tech.
There's love tech. Love tech. Hinge.
Oh, yeah, love tech.
Oh, yeah, I was like, love tech.
Gov tech, government.
Tech. That's government technology. The government is a big contractor for a lot of tech. So even though I'm not working for Kaseya at the moment, I'm not nervous, because I can always combine my healthcare background and my tech background and go back to the hospitals if I want. I just don't want to work in a hospital. But if I wanted to go back to the hospital, I could go back to the hospital. There's so many different industry. Every industry, engineers need tech. Like every industry have some type of tech space. And that's why I think that even though you've seen those big companies like the Googles and all those others, Facebook laying off people, there's other industries you can go into besides those typical ones. Those are selling, they're selling products. There's other, like hospitals, they don't sell product, they're providing a service to people. So they need to protect all that healthcare information. Who's gonna protect it? They need IT people to do that. Exactly, so that's why I'm like, there's more space, and even as someone who recently going through a layoff and have to interview back again, I'm not nervous about it, so I know it's a long fight, but I think once we find your space, you're gonna be good, yeah.
Oui, pour moun kap chercher job dans tech kounyam, d'abdou pas peur, gen job. Mais deux bagages m'te ka dou pour faire. So, soit travail en côté, toujours gen résumé au prêt. Pas parce que vous travaillez dans côté pour 5 ans, 10 ans, pas penser que vous pas besoin retirer. So, j'aime a résumé toujours pareil dans valise moi, si pour m'appliquer pour un job kounya, m'a pas faire. So, m'ta dit pour mettre tête dans position ça tout, pour toujours préparer pour chercher l'autre job si on bagage t'a passé. L'autre bagage m'ta dit pour tech spécialement, like Trina dit, toujours a toujours un job, mais faut qu'à pivot. So si je dis yo dit nous pas besoin de SQL encore. SQL son programme nous utiliser pour job là. Si on dit nous pas utiliser ça encore, n'a utiliser l'autre bagaille. On va pas le crier oh yo pas utiliser encore, m'a pas prendre l'autre bagaille là. So faut toujours prêt pour apprendre ça qui neuf là dans tech, toujours à évoluer, toujours à changer bagaille. So faut toujours prêt.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. It's funny. Well, it's not funny, but the ironic part was I kind of got hired during layoffs, so that kind of was like, it kind of showed me like there's always people hiring. There's always people that have problems that need solved. Just because one person is not hiring a tech person doesn't mean another person isn't. Like Christo was saying, you just have to know how to pivot, right? The problems are changing, so if you know how to fix those kind of problems, you know, right, you're gonna be able to help those kind of people. So, you know, it's more tech than just Google, Microsoft, like they were saying. Yeah, as long as you know how to solve somebody's problem, right, you're good. And I feel like as Haitians, we're always solving problems, right? So as long as you know how to tell them that you can solve their problems, you know, just keep going for those tech jobs.
All right, so very good. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Nous allons passer dans un moment côté, and we know there's people in the audience qui ont des questions pour panel là. Nous sommes capables de faire ça. N'importe question nous gagne sur technologie, nous sommes capables de poser et puis nous allons répondre. Et pendant à faire ça, you know bagay Christelle dit, I really like. Not only in tech, in anything that we do. I mean, I have some healthcare background as well. There's always people reluctant to learn when new stuff come around. So people who are reluctant pour apprendre. So it's always good, quel que soit côté nous et en frères et sœurs, lorsqu'on changement, apprendre. The more knowledge you have, you know, les plus bon pour vous. Ou bien plus d'opportunités capables de venir à vous-même. Vous comprenez? So faire ça. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui a une question pour le panel là, s'il vous plaît? All right.
Yes. Est-ce qu'il n'est pas possible pour nous faire un créole tout? Même gens latino fait là, espagnol parle avec mon yo là, et pas nous tous qui comprennent ça à dire là.
Oui, frère Jo, nous essayons, pour comprendre un langage, surtout dans l'industrie qui est, c'est difficile. Par exemple, Christelle a mentionné SQL. Ça, c'est un langage qui est difficile pour traduire en créole. Mais où est Christelle, c'est en créole, il fait toute présentation. Il y a l'autre tout, Whitney, Stephanie, ils parlent créole, ils bixent. Vous voyez là, il y a un langage parfois dans le field qui est difficile pour capable traduire le créole.
Je dis, so, dans la technologie, en pile de technologie écrit en anglais. So, vous voyez, les gens indiens, ils ont plus d'opportunités parce qu'ils apprennent en anglais. So, il y a des bagages techniques qui langue là, parce que vous ne comprenez pas langue là, il fait plus difficile pour apprendre en technologie parce que toute information seulement dans langue ça. So, raison ça, la compagnie Microsoft, en pile de yo même c'est indien. Là là nous ouais en pile monde qui parle espagnol, en pile monde latin, non. Là c'est toute chose c'est indien. Et so compagnie ça yo si yo joue une opportunité pour faire monde ça yo venir ici et monde ça yo vle parce que monde déjà connaît anglais, so yo déjà connaît technologie. Hein. So on comprend que problème là pour communauté hein, mais ça c'est réalité hein.
Je juste voulais ajouter tout, like, c'est parce que nous vivons ici dans Miami, nous ouais que tout point yo fait tout bail un point like c'est parce que c'est nos zones ça nous était puis for moon in South Florida c'est point yo parler point ça fait facile sur aller dans shop sur pas parler anglais tout point ka comprendre nous da but like tech c'est vraiment vaste, it's very big. Pour moi dans meeting si m'a travaille avec my team j'ai chinois, indien, palestine. Tout côté dans le pays, nous tout chita nous apprendre, ça nous apprendre, nous travaillons en anglais. So pas joindre ça facile comme si pour nous gagner chance dans la communauté. Pas nous on a fait bail créole, non. Faut qu'on apprenne langue là, faut qu'on même Jean Christelle te dit, you have to be willing to learn. Faut qu'on d'accord pour apprendre, challenge your brain, also que you can sell yourself better.
I'm just going to say that there's 1, 2, and you have a question? 3 questions that we're going to have to take because of time. So these 3 will be the last questions, okay?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bruno. I have a question for the Christelle. Okay, you are in data analyst, right?
Yes.
So I am a senior portfolio accountant for a hedge fund, and I've been in the industry for over 5 years. However, data analytics is something that I've always been interested in looking into. So I wanted to ask you, with your experience being able to transition from something completely different and going into that, like how, because I heard you say, somebody reached out to you from LinkedIn. So I want to know, what are like the barriers to entry? Did you have to, what kind of schooling you have to do? Like, for example, if somebody like me that's already deep in my career, like what kind of schooling would I have to do? Like, how would I be able to pivot from accounting to going into that side of it? And also, if you could give me like a broad range of like what the pay is like to see, to compare where I am in what I do versus the other side.
What do you mean
Thank
the
you.
base, like the base salary?
Correct. Like if I'm transitioning from my salary going in as like a, somebody like a newbie, how much of a pay cut would I be taking basically?
Gotcha. Okay, so you're in a really good position because you're already working with numbers. So you're gonna be able to really sell yourself like, I'm an accountant, I know math, I know statistics, which are all skills you need to be a data analyst. What will really be helpful if you want to stay in finance or something similar, it'll be harder if you wanna go into like healthcare or something else. But if you stick to your field, I think you're in a very good position. The only thing you need is the programming skills to be able to be an actual data analyst. So you'll need to learn SQL, you need to learn Tableau, you need to learn some Python. So all of this you can do maybe 3 to 6 months if you can really devote yourself to it. There's Coursera courses, there's a plethora of courses online you can take based on your budget. Once you take those courses for SQL, Tableau, Python, and of course Excel, like you have to know Excel, but you already know that as an accountant. After that, you would create a portfolio of all your work. So you know how to use SQL? This is how I clean data with SQL. You know how to use Tableau? This is a chart that I made in Tableau. So you can go into your interviews really confident. It's multiple steps, sorry. After you have your portfolio, you have your certifications in place, then you have to prep for your interviews. The hardest part about interviewing is going to be the tech interview. Before you can talk to the hiring manager and give them all the fluff about how you're a great worker, you love people, you have to pass a technical exam with the company. So they're going to test you on SQL. They're going to say, hey, we have this data set. We want to know how much money did we lose last year? Use SQL, type up the code to answer that question for us. You need to be able to do that on the spot. But luckily, there's also lots of resources online where you can do practice questions. It's like leak code. Maybe afterwards I can get together with you and give you, text you everything. But there's, you can do practice questions for an interview. Once you ace that, you're in the game. I hope you got all of that. Oh, the baseline. So it depends on the company. So if you're going to work for Microsoft, you're going to be making 6 figures. If you're going to be working for a smaller company, they might start you off at 69, right? So, and if you live in New York, they're going to give you 6 figures. If you live in Florida, they might even give you 55. So it depends on the company you're applying for. Even with that, I will say, which is something I struggle with myself, when they give you your salary, always negotiate. Even though things are bad right now, you need to go negotiate because they're giving you the lowest of the lowest. So even if they tell you 69, be like, I think you can go up to 75. So again, that confidence I know you want the job and it's scary to be like, oh, but that will get you a bigger pay so you don't have to take a pay cut. I actually don't think you'll be taking a pay cut going into data analytics.
Hello, my name is Naika. My question is for the project manager. I wanted to know, what did you do to transition into project manager? Because I am currently a case manager for Morgan & Morgan, and I feel like project manager seems like a similar job, but I think that the pay might be better there.
Yeah,
so I wanted to know, what are the steps to become a project manager?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So the steps to take to become a project manager, so I didn't need to do any portfolio, and Whitney maybe could, because she did project management, but product. So project management is 3 different roles, so let me just say that. That's why I'm bouncing between us. So there's general project managers, and then we have product managers, which she is, specifically focused on one product, and then we have program managers. So program, you focus on a whole program. So project, you could focus on one particular project. So my project at the time when I worked at Kaseya was cybersecurity solutions, so that's what I focused on. So I think one of the things, especially transitioning from case manager to project manager, is showing that you know how to address a project. So all the necessary things that will go into a project plan, showcasing that and seeing the process that you will go about it. I think a lot of the interviews is more scenario-based questions to kind of see how you think and how you process. I think a big piece of project management is your people skills. So how do you connect with people? Are you a person who naturally is engaged? Like when you talk to people, are people naturally captivated by what you're saying? Because as I told you, I don't know nothing. I don't know none of the super expert things. But I know the right questions to ask in order to get that response from people. So I think that's your biggest thing. I don't think there's anything you need to do specific, but I think knowing the right jargon, so hearing the words, for me, especially since I didn't come from project management, from the tech side, I came from healthcare. So a lot of my words were healthcare words when I was first interviewing. It was all healthcare words. So I had to start learning their language. And I did that by going to YouTube videos to hear how they talk. Like when they are addressing a problem, how are they communicating? How is the project manager asking those questions in order for them, as the experts, to get to the solution that they're getting to? So that's kind of how I would go about it, especially if you've already been in the field for a long time. I wouldn't do anything extra. They do have a lot of project management boot camps. There's one with the city that they host. I think you could do like a 6 to 8 week program, and they will teach you like the basic terminology of project management. But again, you can learn it online, and then be able to just communicate and speak to it. So I think that's the biggest thing. No, I don't think so. I think it's basically you have to know how to communicate the story. So especially for me with healthcare to tech, a lot of the questions were like, why? Okay, so I want to do it because I'm very passionate about innovation. I was working in healthcare, and one of my biggest frustrations is that, and I think the reason why COVID was so bad is because when we was trying to put new technology in our hospital, we was always getting pushbacks. So I want to be part of the side where we're developing new things. And I like working in teams with different people to help them get there. So that's how I kind of show like, hey, it's still healthcare, it sounds the same, it's just that I'm doing it in a different environment to get different results. I would say with project management, the only certification we have, which is gonna require you to have actual tangible work experience, we have the CAP and the PMP. So the CAP is the Certified Associate Project Management, and then we have the PMP, which is the more higher level one. The CAP, I think you can have 1 year working experience. You do have to take a course. I think the course maybe is 15 hours. And then you have to have a certain amount of hours that you work professionally. And then you just sit for the exam, you pay for it, and you get the certification. What the certification do is just make sure you get paid more. So right now, I'm not a certified project manager. I need to sit for the test. I have everything to sit, but I just don't want to pay for the test. Because the tests are like $500, $600. So for the PMP, you need 3 years of work experience, 35 hours of education, and then you have to give them like specific projects you did, how you did it, but you have to speak in project management terms to show competency. So that's what I'm saying, like there's nothing you have to do prior. That is just to give you that certified stamp that you could get that bigger paid jobs from there. Whitney, I'll let you
Yeah,
tap into
I don't
it.
have the PMP. I don't have no certificate. But I mean, you know, you always want to be ready so you don't have to get ready. So that's something I'm definitely looking to add to like my portfolio. So again, because you never know what can happen. So, you know, that's just a tool in your toolkit. So, but another thing is like there's apprenticeship programs. So when I actually started at Microsoft, I had applied through an apprenticeship program as a technical program manager. And what an apprenticeship program is, and they have it at Google, they have it at Shopify, like Pinterest, I believe they just recently opened applications for their recent cohorts. But these apprenticeship programs are supposed to help those people exactly like you and the gentleman before you who have transferable skills. You are a professional, and you know, in the sense that you've worked in a specific industry, and they recognize that you may have transferable skills that are applicable to the tech industry. So these companies, they have specific programs specific for people like you. So you're not applying for a job through like the regular career portal, you're applying through that application process. Because you have to understand that a lot of these companies, they have maybe different application processes for different types of applicants. And so that's something I think would be very important, because there's like also their Aspire program at Microsoft. There's like within especially like I guess the Fortune 100 or bigger companies, there's different ways for entering into that industry. And so you have to do a little bit of more research, but I would say my tip is to explore the apprenticeship programs as an opportunity.
I know personally for me, I didn't want to do it at the time. I do want to do the technical one because I feel like that was in terms of my project management experience, I feel like that was the area that I was lacking. I needed to have more technical experience. But I know for me, I didn't want to start at a junior level. But if you're open to starting at like a project coordinator level or a project specialist level, I think those positions are very good entry-level positions. But especially for me, like I graduated my master's, I already had worked professionally for 3 years at that point. I wanted to come in at that same level I had at healthcare. So I wanted the same project manager title when I did my regular job. So that's the reason why I didn't do like one of those apprenticeship, but those are a very good entryway into it.
Well, actually, the thing is, with the apprenticeship program, you can actually work it a number of ways. So most people, like once you enter the apprenticeship, I did a boot camp before, and so I worked as an engineer, and then I applied for the opportunity when the application portal opened. But people came to our boot camp who had gone through Microsoft Leap's apprenticeship, and they're like, it's almost like a stepping stone, because once you're in there, you're in the corporate system. You got a Microsoft email. Now this is also your opportunity not to just depend on at the end of the 16-week, because it's a 16-week program, that you're going to get a job on the team that you're on. That's a possibility. That's these teams signed up to say, hey, I have a space available and I will possibly hire this person, right? But the way that a lot of the people that I came across from my program, they're like, it's also an opportunity to find out there's other jobs while you're at Microsoft, other people who are hiring, other teams that are hiring. And so for me, I was reaching out to other teams. Hey, I see that you're hiring for this position. I'm currently working with this team. The apprenticeship program ends on this date. I'd love to learn more about this role in your team. And so by the end of my apprenticeship, I had an offer from my team as well as another team. And so now I had options. So, and the thing is, based on like, the apprenticeship is a way for them to gauge your skill level. So a lot of people, they start with the apprenticeship, but they're at a senior lead level when they get their offer, because the person actually noticed what their skill sets are. So you don't necessarily get pushed into an entry level position. It's all on the basis of what they've observed in terms of your talent and then what the offer is.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
I just wanted to add that you could do all the things. Like you can get the PMI certificate, you can do that. But if you can't start with the confidence and you can't explain with the word, it really doesn't matter. So like, yes, get all the things, but also be able to clearly communicate your skills. Be able to clearly. Wow, I'm saying it. I can't say it. Be also able to clearly communicate what you can do and bring to the table. I just wanted to add that because a lot of times that you may have all the experience, you get all the knowledge and all the things, but because you can't communicate that because it's a lack of confidence, they won't hire you or they won't see that you have the skill set.
All right. I'm sorry. First of all, hi. Bonsoir. My name is Julie. I want to say I apologize for my voice. My church had a 4-day conference. I've been serving, praying, and worshiping, so my voice is gone. But I did want to start off by extending some gratitude and appreciation to you guys. I want to say thank you so much for coming out here and giving us knowledge, giving us the information, and sharing with us about tech. I'm currently in my process in pivoting into tech. I know tech is especially for the Black community, I believe it's like less than 12% that's in tech, and it's less than 5% of Black women that are in tech. So I commend all of you guys on the stage for taking that step and also coming and sharing that information. So I actually have 2 questions. My 2 questions are, My 2 questions are, first, right now I'm in the beginning process of my tech journey, so I am struggling with pretty much transitioning. Right now I work in healthcare. I work with a lot of data. I have the confidence that I can work in tech because I deal with more extreme things on an everyday, and I work with a lot of data. So when I look at the qualifications, I'm like, that's a part of my job. So I want to know, how can I tell a story? Because a lot of times I hear is telling, or a lot of my patients who do work in tech, they tell me I need to learn how to tell a story through my resume. And that's question number 1. So how am I able to tell a story through my resume with having a different background? And my second question would be, what would be your top 3 tips on me setting myself apart from all the other applicants? So how am I able to pretty much show that I am even more worthy than somebody who probably has more experience, or I am capable of actually exceeding in the role?
Can I ask you, what's your healthcare role?
So right now I am a healthcare coordinator, and I'm also a oral surgeon, dental assistant. So I work with oral surgery, and I work the front side of the dentist's office. I'm a lead, so pretty much I oversee dental assistants. I have to do everything pretty much within the office. So I work for, I got a new job, but I still work in healthcare. I got a new job. Thank you guys. Something I've been praying about. Pretty much, I was working for a private office. So within that private office, there's less resources. So pretty much, I am the front desk. I have to code assurance. I have to learn the technology in the office and teach the doctors and also the assistants how to use the technology. I have to I'm pretty sure everybody went to the dentist, so I'm the person that you see first. I'm the one who have to talk you down, make sure that you're comfortable. I explain the treatment to you. I make notes for the doctor. I pretty much able to chart, so I'm pretty much putting in the information for other doctors and other professionals to see what's going on. So I pretty much do a lot, especially working for a private office. So I pretty much wear many hats within the office. So.
And what do you want to do in tech?
I'm looking into transitioning into a data analyst. So I want to work in data.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and the question is for anybody.
Right, yeah. Well, it was a lot of questions, so I remember the part about setting yourself apart. So when you see a job posting, and you see all of the things that they want, you need to put all of those things on your resume. Find a way, make it fit. So you said you're good at charting. To me, for a data analyst position, it means I can translate one kind of data to another. That's exactly the bullet point. I'm a subject matter expert in healthcare ICD-10 codes or CMS codes. So it's part of the selling yourself part. Like, yeah, you explain it to me as, yeah, I'm just a healthcare coordinator, so I'm the first face you see at the office. But on your resume, it's I'm a leader. Okay, I lead the office.
I'm a little bit nervous too, but I oversee a group of about 10 to 7 dental assistants. I also am the doctor's right hand, so a lot of people are scared of the doctor, but I'm the one who tell the doctor, you go here, you go there, you go there. So I pretty much am like the leader of the office, and without me being there, like the office kind of like go in shambles.
On your resume, you're putting that you're a manager.
Like with my resume, on my resume, I feel like I put so much because I feel like I could do this, I do this, I do this, and I hear that's not always the best thing to do. It's good to like I said, tip somebody told me to make it a story, like shorten it. Like my first resume was like 3 pages long, and somebody was
one
like,
page,
yeah.
one page resume, and all of your bullet points need to be database. So you said you manage 7 other dentists. So you say I successfully managed 7 dentists, and under my management, we increased our patients by 10%. That.
Yeah.
All the bullet points.
You want to
just like that.
quantify your impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to recommend. One of the things I think is overlooked with resumes is people, they kind of end up using the same words because everybody's trying to be an expert. Try to be able to be human as well. Put some hobbies in there. Because people be like, oh, okay, like you like to read and you in tech, or you like to do hair and you in tech. Like you're able to flow through interviews easier because it's not so robotic. You could just like talk like you're human, you know. So
especially the management portion, be yourself. So if you're naturally funny, be that in the interview. If you're quirky, whatever, be yourself. I think that has helped me a lot, just being myself and being like being an oversharer, which really gets my coworkers to really love me and like really fight for me. So I agree with that.
And I just want to make it clear, like when I mean be human on your resume, like even me myself, I have a section where I put hobbies, like books I like, or like things I like to do, like roller skating or drumming. And they ask about these things, like during the interview, they're like, by the way, I see you know this, you know, maybe we should start a band. Like it kind of makes everything like, I guess, loose in a way. And I guess another piece of advice trying to break into that world is like learn what kind of problems they want you to solve. Because throughout school, I kind of made that kind of like my mission. I'll go on company websites and like their blogs. A lot of them will have blogs and say how we speed up our website to make sure our customers like enjoy the experience, or how we handled 3 terabytes of data and all kind of things. Like their blogs will tell you what their problems are and what like how they solved it. So just yeah.
one more thing. Sorry, one more thing. Last thing. When you go in your interview, you need to answer all the questions in the STAR method. So they'll be like, tell us about a time where you encountered a challenge. You'll say, I encountered X challenge when I was managing a dental office. We were short-staffed. This is what I learned. This is how I overcame it. And this is what I will do in the future. So all the questions, you need to say that. You can't just say, oh yeah, there's challenges at the job. Like, you need to give them specific examples so they know that you actually work there and that you know what you're talking about. So I'm done. Yeah.
And I would say, so when it comes to resume, because I'm definitely not the person, I don't like to update my resume. But to your point where you're like, you want to throw everything on there, well, it depends on the role that you're applying for. So honestly, depending on which job you're applying for, you should have a custom resume for each of them, right? So it's not the case where you have to try and stuff all of your, I guess, background and experiences. What's relevant to that position, what they're looking for, is what should be on that resume. But as a tool, because I have my sister, she's a nurse, and she's like, she hates nursing. And so she wants to switch into like some health informatics, I believe. And so she wants to go into like the tech space where it's gonna be a combination of the data and stuff like that. So, you know, my recommendation to her is like, you know, there's a conference in Orlando for the health tech space. You know, be in that space to find out what people are talking about in the industry that they're looking for on that resume. What are the technologies? You know, what are the things that you need to know and how to speak to that, how to tell that, you know, how to gain that storytelling skill for that particular industry. But another thing, I told her, use ChatGPT.
I was thinking that too.
Like, honestly, I just use ChatGPT. I'm like, I want my resume to sound XYZ way, okay? And then, you know, get better at the prompt engineering to make it, you know, fit exactly and look exactly how you want it to look and sound and speak to your experience how you want it to speak to it. So that's my recommendation as in terms of like tools you could use.
I also would say, especially if you're at those practices, I would ask them for projects. Don't tell them you're going to tech, but just say like, hey, like, I realized that I really enjoy the data aspects of this role. Do you mind if I work with like our data team to like understand it more so we can make more informed decisions or business decisions? So you position it in a way that you can get that on-the-job training so you can have an actual project to speak on. So that's how that also helped with my healthcare transition, was that when I knew I was starting to set myself up to leave, I started, the area I worked in healthcare was process improvement, so we were the side of the hospital. If you have an issue, we help you, whatever your problem is, which that same fundamental, that same skill set is what you use in tech. So I think that was a good transition. But I started positioning myself like, okay, I know I want to move in this space. What do they need? And then start asking for like pseudo healthcare projects on the side. Like, hey, I noticed you guys like, hey, we have all this data. We're not even using it. Do you mind if like on the side, can we like use it to make more, if they have like a long wait times? Like, hey, we struggle with wait times. Like, can we do like a quick study, like where we could quick, especially if you're in the front, like, hey, I'm already in the front, I could already start doing time, so you can have like a data project to speak to on the job, and you're learning and be able to practice, and you have experts, because then that's a big part of her job is going to experts and like, hey, the team might be like, hey, I need X amount of data. You need to know how to talk to different stakeholders. So you're going to that doctor like, hey, yo, our wait times is this. I need you to help me with this. Or this is what the data is showing. Because you need to be able to understand the data and also speak and analyze and give suggestions and solutions to it. So maybe that's the way at where you could kind of like, you know, get into that space more too.
Oh, yeah. So I work for a private office, so I am the data, like I am the person to make the data because I am the lead. I have to find problems and be like, okay, y'all tripping on this. We need to do this because our patients are complaining. So there's not necessarily like a upper. The only upper would be like the doctor, and the doctor is looking at me.
Okay, so you could do that on your side. Like that could be your own side project. Yeah, your own little initiative on the side to do like, hey, like you're just recording that, but you speak to that when you go to the interview. Like, hey, at work, I work as a healthcare coordinator, but a big piece of my job is I handle customers' emissions. And then this is what a problem I saw. And I saw based on the data said this. And this is what we implemented a change, and based on this change, we saw a decrease by this amount of percentage, and this is my recommendation for whatever it is. You're speaking to that to the interview. They don't know that if you did that work or not, but if you wanted to practice to have that real world experience so you could feel confident, I think that's a good place to do it.
I'd love to share my contact info with you afterwards if you have, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. L'église, frères et sœurs, si nous avons apprécié le panel là pour présentation après-midi, je vais vous donner un gros bravo pour vous. Come on, guys. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming in, for sharing your knowledge. I mean, it was very, very informative, and I've learned so much. I don't know, I have no background in tech, but I learned so much. Hey, I mean, you know what? There's so much that we can do. Pas besoin d'aller dans docteur, ingénieur pour nous faire quoi, bien côté pour nous faire quoi dehors, mes frères et sœurs.
Yes, I just want to give another warm thanks for you guys coming out. I really appreciate it. We are going to have a part 2 where we're actually putting this into practice. So seeing what they actually do hand in hand and like actually seeing the data. I know that they had wonderful presentations. So the next part, we're going to connect. We're going to try to see what time they have so that you guys can actually see firsthand what are the types of programs they use relating to their jobs, and also day-to-day tasks that they're doing. And it's very interactive. So I hope that you guys come for the next event. Okay? Thank you guys for coming out. We're going to, oh, sorry. Oh, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Earlier, when we were talking about being in Creole, I didn't want to be dismissive about it because I do think it's important for this information to be available. Is there opportunity, because I know it's being live streamed, for this to be translated? Because, you know, I was raised here, so I only know the English terms for some of the kind of like technology stuff that I'm referring to. But I think if we reach out to on Upwork, there are people who are in Haiti who are in technology. I've connected with a lot of technologists in Haiti, and they might be the ones who are the great people to reach out to translate this into the technology terms that we need. So.
Okay, thanks. That's a good idea. So I'm going to try to look into that, and I'm also going to connect with the church members as well to see if we can make it happen. Thank you. Yeah. Stanley, Dooley, Tamun. We're going to try to plan together. So we're going to pray. So please stand for prayer. And also, if you guys want to connect with these awesome panelists, they'll stay for like 5 minutes, if anything. If you guys have any questions, connect with them on LinkedIn. You guys can come forward and connect with them. Vous pouvez dire ça en créole, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, frères et sœurs, si nous voulons connecter avec panélistes, il y a là pour l'autre 5 minutes encore. Il y a LinkedIn, il y a IG, il y a tout côté. So nous sommes capables de connecter ensemble avec eux. Peut-être nous sommes capables de partager le numéro ensemble avec nous. Tant que jeune the young lady that will be connected to Christelle. So connectez ensemble avec eux, young men, young ladies who planning to go to tech. Connect with them. They will guide you guys.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Notice. Okay, bow your heads and close your eyes for prayer. Dear Heavenly Gracious Father, Lord, thank you for letting us have this wonderful opportunity to fellowship, to learn and grow with one another, Lord. Please, Lord, let this opportunity even go further and farther into reaching other people in the church community. May we connect and continue to learn and grow with one another. In your precious name, I do pray, amen. We're going to have to end.